G'day everyone, welcome to something a little bit different from us. We're going to be doing some of the sneaky little mods that we've got planned for our new titanium caravan. So we're going to be installing a few of the things that we've had up our sleeve. We're at Liz's mum and dad's place in the driveway, trying to smash out a few quick mods so we can get back out there and do what we love, getting back on the road. First up is getting this installed.
It's a dishwasher.
Our dishwasher.
I'm so excited.
We're going to run through a bit about the dishwasher, why, all of that. So we're going to dive in now and run into that.
All right, so why did we want a dishwasher in our van? Well, the main reason we wanted one is it's a cupboard for the dirty dishes. Absolutely nothing annoys me more in our van than having dishes piled up in the sink and all over the bench while you're trying to live, work, and do everything that we do in our van. So for us, the way we live, you know, you wake up, you have breakfast, you've got 4 bowls and 2 coffee cups. It's not worth heating the water to do the dishes. So then you wait till lunchtime, you might have some wraps, you might have like another 4 little plates and a knife. Still not worth doing the dishes, but the dishes are stacking up. Then it's dinner time and you've got a full day's worth of dishes to do all at once. And those dishes have been sitting out all day, just lying around, making the van look messy. It's not worth doing the dishes 3 times a day for the amount of water consumption that you would use. You want to sort of bank it all up and do it all at once and save water there while you live off grid. The other main reason we want one is because I'm just so sick of doing dishes. I feel like I spend so much time doing dishes, and I'm sure you can all agree, if you've got a dishwasher in your home, you probably love it. And if you put one in a house, I can't see why you wouldn't put one in an off-grid home.
So why this particular dishwasher? Well, I did a heap of research, as I'm sure you guys can appreciate, to figure out which one we wanted. And there was a few different styles in this sort of, I guess I call them like a half-size dishwasher. They're similar width to a standard household dishwasher, but half the height. So obviously much more compact for the small kitchen we've got. There's this style, which is the drop-down door style, and then obviously there's the drawer style. The problem with the drawer style, we were worried about how we were going to be able to keep it closed when we traveled, because obviously they're not designed to go in RVs or caravans. And that was a big challenge we had, was that no one really makes a dishwasher that's specifically designed for RVs or caravans. So I'll get into that more a bit later, but that was a big consideration, was finding one that was going to have a decent latch that would stay closed when we traveled. We were actually surprised when we started thinking about should we or could we put a dishwasher into the van, at how they're not, I wouldn't say they're energy efficient or water efficient, but how little power and water they use. So this one it's 7.4 litres per wash on the Eco Cycle and 164 kilowatt hours per year. Now that assumes you're running the dishwasher once a day, every day for the year. So 164 kilowatt hours is 164,000 watt hours, because kilowatts is just 1,000 watts. So divide 164,000 watt hours by 365, gives you how many watts it's going to use per day. Divide that by 12 and you get to around about 30 amps it's going to use to do one cycle. So I reckon that's pretty good for power. We've got a much bigger power system, which we'll go through in our full walk around in our new van. We're going to be able to run this comfortably. And water at 7.4 or 7.5 litres per cycle. If we're only running that once a day, that's not that much more water than we would use by hand washing. So yes, it will use probably a couple more litres a day, but we reckon the trade-off is worth it for all those pros that Liz was talking about before, being able to store our dirty dishes and keep the van neat and tidy, and the time save. We're finding more and more we're looking for time efficiencies, which might sound crazy when we travel full time and live on the road, but obviously we're running the business and doing homeschooling and all the other things we're doing on the road. The more time we can free up that we're not doing dishes means more time out there exploring and doing what we actually want to be out there doing, and the whole reason we started traveling in the first place. Those 2 ratings, that power and water rating, that's on its Eco Cycle. So it has about 4 or 5 different modes or cycles it'll do. So we're looking forward to testing those out, seeing which ones use, how much water they use, how much power they use, all that sort of stuff, and we'll definitely be feeding that back to you guys.
Even though this dishwasher unit is quite compact, it still is going to fit 6 dinner plates, 6 side plates, 6 bowls, cutlery, utensils, and a pan. We've tested it. We have the Corelle, which a lot of people have for traveling, and that fits perfectly in here. Done. And it's got plenty of room, so we've got room for the cutlery, room for the utensils up here, the dinner plates will go here, the bowls go here, side plates go here, and this space here is for a pot or a pan. So yes, it's a compact unit. It's similar to what you would get in a small apartment, but it's got pretty much everything we need for a full day of dishes as a family of 4.
But one of the other big considerations, obviously, when you look at putting something like this in a caravan is how much does it weigh? Well, it isn't light. It weighs 23 kilos, which is a fair bit of weight to have in there permanently. But that being said, in our van, we opted no oven. We didn't get a microwave. That was the compromise to allow us to have this, because we're going to use this on a daily basis. A microwave we used a handful of times, maybe once or twice a month at the most. And an oven, as you guys know, we've never had one in a van anyway. So yeah, look, that was the trade-off. It is a bit of weight, and obviously the other cons are that it takes up quite a bit of space. It's bigger than a microwave, probably about the same size as an oven. It's 550mm wide, about 450mm tall, and about 500mm deep. So it's a fairly sizable unit, but we think it's worth it, the space and the weight trade-off. What are the other cons? The big one is really a big question mark over its durability. How's this going to last in a caravan, bouncing around on all those outback roads that we like to do? Only time will tell. The other advantage to this drop-down style and this particular one that we bought was its cost. This is about $400. You can buy them. There's a number of retailers. This is called the Devanti 6-place setting dishwasher. We bought it through Bunnings just because as we travel around, if we do have any warranty issues or anything like that, we can take it back to a Bunnings and they're easy to find everywhere. But as I said, there's a number of retailers online. I will leave a link in the description below of this particular unit if you want to go and check it out. We found for $400 we were willing to risk and wait and see how the durability goes, and we'll obviously feed that back to you. If it falls apart and stops working, we'll let you know. But yeah, we're keen to test it out. So Titanium provisioned for this, but they didn't want to install it, and I'll touch more about that in a minute. But what they did to provision for it for us was, obviously it needs a water supply, it needs a power supply, and it needs drainage. So they put a hole through the side of the cabinet for us to allow us to get those 3 through under the sink. They put an extra power point under the sink for us to give it power. There's a off-take on the drainage on the S-bend under the sink to allow for the drain, and then I can just easily put a T-piece in to give it the water supply. They built the cabinet where the drawer is specifically to fit it, and it fits like a glove. It fits really well, and then we just cut the drawer front surround to make it all look pretty. So why didn't Titanium install it for us? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, it was very new to them. They'd never done it before, so it would have been quite a lot of time and custom work to make it fit. And then they're also concerned about the heat that this will generate and the steam and what effect that will have on the cabinetry around it, obviously being plywood cabinetry in the van. They had some concerns about that. We're willing to take on that risk, as I said, because of all the benefits. So we're going to take on the risk. We're going to test it. We're going to feed that information back to you, how good it is, or whether it works or not. But we're also going to feed that back to Titanium, and they may consider offering these in the future. Why don't we see more of these in caravans is really for those reasons, I think, is the question marks over its durability. There's no specific caravan dishwashers, and there's no caravan supplier that will supply dishwashers. So you really are adapting a domestic one or a residential one. And I just think it highlights how far behind the caravan industry is. So this is just one of the many things that we're able to do with Titanium that a lot of the other manufacturers, and they weren't the only ones, but a lot of the other manufacturers out there weren't able to accommodate, or just weren't even interested in having the discussion. When we started mentioning things like provisioning for coffee machines and thermomixers and dishwashers, they almost laughed at us like we were ridiculous for requesting it, which just highlights, I guess, how in the dark ages some of these manufacturers are, that they want to just keep producing the same vans that they've produced for the last 20, 30, 40 years, and people's needs have changed, and technology's changed. People are traveling differently to what they did back then. So I think, again, when we picked the Titanium, a lot of people have asked us why we went with the Titanium. It wasn't as much about the product, although we love the product, as it was about the people and their open-mindedness and their willingness to accommodate a lot of the, I guess, less mainstream ideas that we had with the van. So this is just one of those. We can't wait to show you all the other ones that we've got coming up as well. We've got a fair few things up our sleeve. Hope you can hear me over the wildlife. All in all, we're really looking forward to testing it out. Can't wait to see how it goes, and we're really excited to have the dishwasher in there. So let's go jump in the van and get it installed. Okay, so step one is to take out the drawer that Titanium put in the place of where the dishwasher was going to live in this cavity. Next job, get the dishwasher in and check what the clearance is and figure out exactly where it's going to sit so we could start planning the install. It's a pretty snug fit, but there's plenty of room all the way around, so we could get in there and see how it was all going to work out. Next, I'm going to measure up for the surround. We're going to cut the original drawer front to make a surround around the dishwasher to cover in all that dead space. So first step is to remove all the drawer hardware. We're going to use the original drawer front. We put some masking tape on the drawer front to prevent any chipping or splintering while we were cutting it. Did a quick test cut with the router just to make sure that it wasn't going to splinter or chip on what was going to be the waste, just to make sure. Then I set up a jig to run the router along the straight edge to make sure it was all nice and neat, and then set about cutting into the drawer front. Worked out really well and made a really neat finish once we finished cutting through. So repeated that on all 4 sides, and here we have it. The surround was complete. Good. But what I've been able to do is take out, so there's normally 2 drawers above here, so I've been able to take out the top 2 drawers, and that gives me full access around it. So as you can see, it's a fairly snug fit. I've got a bit of room either side. I have cut that drawer front into make a surround, like I said, so that that'll fit nice and neatly around it and finish it all off. But that won't actually secure it. So the idea to secure it is going to be to use basically a couple of straps, a couple of ratchet strap type straps. So these are the Camlock ones. Just pick these up from Bunnings. So 2 of those wrapped around the top of the dishwasher, and then through a couple of eyelets. So I've just got a couple of little, let me find them, where did I put them? Yeah, so a couple of little sort of horseshoe eyelets that I'll screw with some decent screws, big screws, into the cabinet base to give them plenty of meat to hold onto that. So there'll be 2 straps that'll run up and over, front and back, over the top of it. Yeah, so a little bit fiddly, a little bit tricky, but it shouldn't be too bad. And then I've got obviously the water supply, drain, and the power. That'll all go through here, through this hole, and then that takes it in under the sink, in under there, where I can then get power, water supply, and drainage. So relatively straightforward on that front. So yeah, now it's just a matter of just getting it in the cupboard, nice and square and straight where it's going to live. I'll mark it out, install those little horseshoe eyelets, and then we'll do a test fit, and then obviously give it a test run, make sure we've got no leaks, and it all runs properly before I go and fit it all off and finish it off. And then I just got to put that surround on. I've just got some little 90-degree joiners, so they're these little cabinetry, again from Bunnings, little cabinetry joiners, little 90-degree corners, just so I can screw through the back of that that surround is the plan, if I can get into it, and yeah, and fit that off, and she should be all honky-dory. So like a lot of things, it might be easier said than done, but we'll see how we go. We'll crack into it. Well, that went pretty well. So I've got those horseshoes in. I used the square there just to make sure they lined up, and I've got them set so that they're tight against the side of the dishwasher, so they'll actually hopefully help it stop sliding side to side as well. The hardest bit's going to stop it sliding forwards back out the hole, because there's really nothing to stop it other than the friction of the straps. So they're going through each eyelet. These don't have a hook, these straps, so they just go back to themselves. So I'm just using the drawer runners just to hold it up so I can slide the dishwasher in, and I've obviously got to get those hoses and cord through there as well.
Here comes trouble. What are you 2 up to?
We're just going to set a timer on my iPad so we know when it's iPad time.
The kids have been earning iPad time, so if they do their schoolwork and do their chores and do what they're asked, thanks James, then they earn some iPad time. But they love timers. They like to know what they're in for. If it's not good enough for us to just say, yeah, you can have it in a couple of hours, they have to set the timer. Anyway, let's get into it. Jump out of the way. Sweet. So that's in. It fits. That's good. It's always a good start. Those hoses are going to have to get rerouted. The hoses are on the wrong side of the strap. to get a fair bit of tension on those. I'm pretty happy with that actually. It's not going to go anywhere. That's not going anywhere, as everyone says when they're tying something down. You got to flick the straps. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. So this is the surround on. I've just got to, you can see there the plies exposed. I can't leave that like that. Obviously moisture and it looks pretty ugly. So we've got some black edge banding. So I've got to move the dishwasher forward a little bit more so it finishes, it'll sit flush with this. Sand that up and I'll put some black edge banding on. We couldn't get any green to match this, and I think the black will actually blend in even better. You won't notice it, it'll disappear with the black dishwasher in there. Lurking in the background.
I'm just lurking in the background.
Plumbing time. This bit is pretty straightforward. So the drain, it has to go on this, on the S-bend. So I'll just bring that around the back there and that'll go on like that. I just have to drill that out. That's blocked off inside, sealed off so that water doesn't come out when you don't want it to. And hose clamp. And then this is the cold water supply. That black bit of pipe coming up the back there. These are push-pull fittings, so unscrew that, push-pull fitting comes off. This goes on, and that push-pull fitting will go into there, and then one will go to the sink and one will go to the dishwasher. And then obviously power point at the back, run the power cord over the top, plug it in. And as they like to say, Bob is your mother's brother. So we are getting one step closer to test run, make sure there's no leaks. Let's crank it up. Hit start. Hear the pump running, so that's good. Just checking again for leaks. Nothing there. I can just reach down the back. Oh, kinda. Where the water supply goes in at the back. There's nothing leaking there, which is good. Obviously won't know about the drain until it pumps out. Seems to be working. We'll see what comes of that. Let's see how much power we're using. Nothing yet, only a couple of amps. I really think the only time it's going to use a significant amount of power is when it's heating the water. Apart from that, I can't see it using a lot. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that as the cycle goes through and see. All right, well, the dishwasher's got about 4 minutes left to go on that cycle. I don't know how much power it used in total because I haven't kept a close enough eye on it and we've got a heap of solar coming in. But it peaked at about 75 amps was the most I saw at drawing, but it didn't draw that for very long. There was a period there it was drawing 30 amps for a little while, but overall it only drew a few amps at a time. So it's just finishing its drawing cycle now. There was nothing in it, so I can't tell you how well it washed things, but obviously we're going to test this over the next little while and yeah, keep feeding back info to you guys, let you know how it goes. Morning. So this morning's job is to put this this frame or surround around the dishwasher, and originally the plan was to do it while it was in there and just reach in and screw from the back side of the surround. But this morning I've realised that, or yesterday actually, I realised that once it was all in, there wasn't actually enough room to get in there to try and get any screws in. So this morning I've pulled it back out and I'm going to secure this frame onto there first, and then I'll pass the dishwasher back through, and I'll still have room to be able to get through here and do the straps back up and secure it back in. So I've marked on it while the dishwasher was in there. I've marked on the carcass of the cabinetry where it's got to go. So I'm using these little doodad. Yeah, they're just a little 90-degree connector that I can put on the inside. Screw that in and should be good to go. All right, so one thing I did forget is there's obviously still a fair bit of water in the dishwasher, so when I tipped it on its front, yeah, water went everywhere. Not rocket science. Anyway, I decided to double-sided tape the top and the bottom. You would have seen me throw that tape on there, so that's just like a really thin fiberglass double-sided tape that's used for sticking flooring down. So I just put that double-sided tape on the top and the bottom just because they're really thin and there's not enough room there to get any fittings into, and I'll just secure it with that those screws on the sides. These are really hard to hold in the right spot while I'm lying in there and screwing them in, so I'm just using a tiny little bit of double-sided tape to hold them in the right spot. Alright, I'm going back into my cave.
Do you want me to do that, Dal?
I want you to do it.
Yeah, I can do these things.
Darling, I know you can.
If you weren't such a perfectionist, I'd be able to do all this.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost a professional installation. I'm always worried when you're filming and I'm really concentrating on something that I'm pulling a weird face or my tongue's poking out or something and I don't realise.
Oh, I've got plenty of action shot stuff, don't you worry.
Satisfying?
So satisfying. I just had a comment on our Instagram. A lady said if you heat the stickers with a hairdryer first, they'll peel off and won't leave residue. Bloody brilliant. Thank you very much, Miss Mouse. This is sorted, so it's beautiful. Final touch.